Hey everyone, you're watching the Esperanza 243, or as I like to call it, the book reading channel, which I will be changing after this video. Actually, after Saturday. That's what I meant, after Saturday. Dang it. Anyways, this is Long Live Menavia Part 5. What was I going to say? I need to start doing those little notes again, because I keep losing my train of thought here. And it's off the railroad tracks. Oh! Now I remember. Hang on a second. I don't know if I told you guys this, but one of my mom's relatives did a little bit of genealogy for my grandma, my mom's mom, and it turns out that her family is French. So now I'm a melting pot, because I'm quarter French, quarter Austrian, quarter English, quarter Italian, which probably makes sense why I'm so good with languages, or not, pronouncing them, I should say. I don't really understand all of it. But that would explain why I'm so good at, pronouncing languages. Not just because my family lived in Bolivia for 7 years, and I was there for 4.5. 4.5 years, I wish I could remember. Bummer. Anyways, I believe I should do a little recap of Long Live Menavia before I start reading it. I like to sing. I like to sing. Doing all kinds of random singing here. Got a song stuck in my head. Wake me up before you go. I love that song. I don't know who sings it. I should know though, because I own the disc for Just Dance 2. Jeez. I'm actually pretty good at that. Dude, I can do this. I can do like most of the dance moves in Rasputin. Rasputin. I love that song, actually. A song based on true history. Anyways, what was I gonna... Dang it, now I gotta mention about that. Rasputin. It was a shame how he carried on. Now I got a different song in my head. And that's why I ain't gonna say her name. Anyways, let's get to the book. Deviating way too long here. Recap. Caprice and her adopted mother were in the market. Caprice, I think, got to see a duel. I think I might have already read that part in part 2. Not positive, though. I don't remember. No. In part 4, we found out that a man helped the newlyweds find the hotel directly. I mean, they were just a few buildings away. And he found the wife very pretty. And he tries to seduce her unsuccessfully and gets interrupted by Marie, Caprice's adopted mother. And it kind of goes downhill from there. He gets kind of hurt from the wife's belt, you know, hitting him squarely on the jaw. And he pulls out this unique knife, and the lawman comes with his 8-point badge. And tries... Oh, he presses... the man grabs Marie and presses the knife against her. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's get to the reading now. 6-7 minutes already? Jeez. Got a lot of reading to do. Okay. That's actually where I start reading. Whoa now, sir. Careful what you're doing, the lawman said. Put down the knife. Let's talk like civil folk. We can do that here or down at the precinct. It's all your fault, you know, the man whispered in her ear, barely audible for anyone else to hear. Shivers crawled all over Marie's body. She closed her eyes. He felt her shiver. He wasn't sure if that was a response to his closeness or fear. He looked at her from head to foot. Interesting. I think I've met you before. You're rather pretty. The man lowered his head toward her neck, but then looked around and slowly backed up, taking her to an alley. He loosened his grip a bit and slowly wrapped his arm to her stomach, sending shivers down her spine. She was becoming scared, knowing full well what he intended to do. The lawman tried stopping him, reasoning with him. Sir, I'll say it again. Careful with what you're doing. I don't want anyone to get hurt, he told the man. The man looked at him with a cruel look. Of course you're not including me, he called out for a fact. Whatever happens to me is fine. Punishment for people like me would be anything, even death. He sniffed Marie's hair with obsession and continued taking her to the alley. All of a sudden, someone jumped on him. She became scared and worried. Marie couldn't do anything while he was gripping her so tightly. No! The lawman yelled. He got off his horse and ran to the person and the man. The man struggled with the guy on top of him. He soon realized he was still holding Marie. The next second, he wore a wry smile. She saw his wry smile and panicked. She began to struggle to get out of his grip. As that happened, the knife he was holding lowered to the beginning of her bust. Without knowing what he did, he pressed the edge of his knife closer to her and pulled. The next Without knowing what... Blah, blah, blah. Marie cried. He became shocked when he looked down, but he still struggled with the person on his back. With his shocked state, he let go of her and dropped to his knees. He was furious and stayed so as he and the person rolled around. The man was trying to break away from him, but the person was trying to strangle him and avoid his knife. It was a neck-to-neck situation. The lawman reached them, but he didn't know what to do. He sighed. When the rolling pair came close, he put his foot on someone's back. It was the person who surprised the man. The person felt his foot and gasped. He became shocked and disappointed with what he had done, that he stopped struggling and strangling. "Are you done now, Freddy?" the lawman asked. He took his foot off. The person got up with a sad face. He nodded. Just then, the person who called his wife Carolyn, appeared. He was confused as to what happened. He looked at his wife. "I shall explain later." "That's not French," she whispered in French. She felt at fault and was quite embarrassed about the situation. Suddenly, the man got up and ran off, leaving his knife behind. The lawman gasped. He pulled something out of his belt and flipped it hard at the man with a snap of his wrist. It was a whip, and it was long enough, too. The whip wrapped around his feet. The lawman tugged, and he fell. He pulled him back. As he took the whip off and put it back in his belt, he made the new prisoner stand up. "Let's take you down to the cells. See if you can find yourself comfortable." The man scowled at him. Marie noticed his knife on the ground and took it. She came up to the man and the lawman. She was bleeding badly. The lawman saw her with the knife. He widened his eyes. "Miss, I know where you're coming from, but this isn't right. He belongs behind bars." She gave him a look. "He doesn't belong there. For what he did to that lady, he deserves to be hanged," she said furiously, making more blood from her chest spill out. The lawman gave her a stern look. She sighed. As the lawman helped him up on his horse, Marie came closer. Then the lawman got on his horse. He looked at her. "Miss, I should need to take that knife. It's not yours." She nodded and gave the knife to him. The lawman took it and put it away, out of reach from the prisoner. Suddenly, the prisoner kicked her in the chest, making her chest wound widen. A snap was heard. The lawman became worried and furious. "Someone fetch the doctor! Quickly!" Freddy ran off in search of the doctor as Marie dropped to the ground. "Madre! Mother!" English, Italian translation. She ran to her. During Freddy's absence for getting the doctor, Caprice tore off the bottom part of Marie's dress and tried wrapping it around her chest. She lifted her mother and held onto her, hoping that would do something to stop the bleeding. She stopped and realized her mom could die any minute. She put her head on Marie's shoulder and started to cry. Then she heard people murmuring and looked around. Everyone had witnessed what happened after a man named Freddy jumped onto the man. "Figlia. Mi figlia," Marie whispered, her eyes barely opened. "I'm here, Mama." Her mother put her hand in her pocket and pulled out the locket and an envelope. Caprice gasped. "Medaglione! The locket! You're giving it to me?" She nodded and coughed. She spat out blood in her cough. She began to look pale and breathed heavily. "Take this," she shuddered. Travel to Indra, to Menavia," she whispered hoarsely. Caprice took the locket and the envelope, and gripping them tightly, and stared at the two items. Marie closed her eyes and tried to sigh, only it came in as gasps. Her daughter looked at her. There you need to find Monsieur Baldwin. She opened her eyes and reached for Caprice's face. Behave yourself. Listen to him. Her face had a loving look. Her eyes closed, and then her head bobbed back and forth a couple of times. Just then, the doctor arrived, but he was too late. Her body went flaccid the second he arrived. "No," Caprice whispered. "No! Mama! Mama! Wake up!" Her voice rose. Tears came down her cheeks. Still gripping the locket and envelope, she ran off towards home. Just having a little break here. Horse is a little sore. Voice. Sorry. Voice. I'm goofing off just like Seamus. I've actually been a little obsessed with a particular playthrough by Seamus. It's called Skyrim. I'm sure you've heard of it. M, not double M. Alright, let's get back to reading. This is a little longer than I was expecting. Okay, where was I? It was later on that day, and Caprice was in the foyer. That moment between her and her adopted mother never left her mind. She was spread out on a chaise lounge. It was one of those long couches people used back then. It was to be used if the host or hostess fainted. Oh, if a guest or hostess fainted, sorry. Caprice was crying. "I should have bought a dagger," she muttered. "Mom wouldn't have died." She clenched her fists. She clenched her fist too tight. The locket's latch pinched her palm. She cried, "Ow!" She gasped when she realized she still had the locket and envelope in her hand. She opened her hand and looked at the envelope. It appeared the envelope had been opened before. A red seal was broken, but someone had sealed it back up with something. Mom and Dad must have opened it before, Caprice thought aloud. But why? It appeared Marie and her husband never told her about finding the letter with her as a babe, so there would be no telling if she knew she was adopted or not. Though the envelope had the appearance it had been opened and sealed, something about it seemed different. Caprice thought it would be thin. It wasn't. It looked thick. Thick enough to hold 2 letters? She wanted to rip open that envelope so badly, but she knew she shouldn't. She knew she couldn't. She remembered the last words her mother told her. Travel to Inra, to Menavia. You'll need to find Monsieur Baldwin, Marie had said. Behave yourself. Listen to him. That sounded more English than Italian. Caprice was confused. Why was she so brief, even when she was dying? Why make her travel so far? She looked at the locket next. What does Louisa have to do with me? Who is Louisa? She thought to herself. There was only one way to find out. Travel to Inria. Travel to Inria, the country of Menavia. Sorry, I messed that up. Travel to Inra, in the country of Menavia. She ran to her room and looked for her packing bags. There was only one problem. How much stuff should she pack? She decided to pack 2 weeks' worth of clothes, a fourth of her bathroom items, and some sewing items and fabric materials, in case she ever needed to make more clothes. Then she went to her mother's room, unlocked the door, and searched for Marie's coin bag. She found it within 5 minutes. After that, she realized she needed a carrying bag, big enough to carry food and water. She looked in the food closet to see if there were any bags. All she could find were the shopping bags her family used. An idea popped into her mind. She could use a shopping bag. That way she could carry food, water, and her sewing project. Suddenly, Caprice gasped. She almost forgot about the sewing project. It was nearly done. The outfit just needed a few more minor details. She went to find it and decided to finish the project before she would leave. Not long after that, she was observing her new finished outfit. It was a long, flowing dress, a pretty thing with lace on the neckline and sleeves. The dress was a light shade of burly wood. The lace was a shade of bisque, or bisque, whatever I pronounce it. Something is missing, she muttered. All of a sudden, there was a knock at the front door. She jumped, and then sighed. She got up and looked through a window next to the door. He looked familiar, but she couldn't remember his name. She opened the window a bit, went to the door, and spoke. "Who goes there?" she called out. "I am Signore Tucci. I have important news about your mother." Caprice was suddenly feeling faint. The memory of what happened made her weak. "I know she's dead. I was there when it happened," she called out to him. I was by her side when she spoke her last words, and making sure her last wishes are kept." It was silent. "Then I suppose you need help. May I help in any way?" She thought for a while. And that's when I'm going to stop. And it's more than 20 minutes. I guess that's fine. I haven't done a video in more than 20 minutes anyway. It's a nice place to stop, and it's not much of a cliffhanger. You actually get to wait to figure out what she was thinking. I believe that is it. Oh, even the monitor is glaring in my glasses. I was wondering why it was even more brighter than usual. Alright, I believe that's it. My mom is done with what she was doing before, so now me and her can watch a Blu-ray DVD in my room, since my room is the only one with a Blu-ray DVD player. I am so cool. I already have like about two or three DVDs and Blu-ray. Awesome! I don't really notice a difference, but it's pretty neat. You know what, I'm not going to talk anymore because I don't really want to waste any more time for you guys. So I will talk to you possibly Tuesday or Tuesday night, Tuesday afternoon, whatever. because I probably will end up doing a video with me and my best friend. Having a feeling she might come over here. But who knows? We'll probably end up walking around downtown like we always do. So I will see you guys in the next video. Whether it's a vlog with Anna or a book reading. This is the Esperanza 243 signing out.